Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show. Ladies and gentlemen, hey, don't touch that dial. We have something. This is a good show. This is my first show for 2009. And my guest today, top shelf. I got the top shelf now. When I start off the new year, we're going to talk about the money. We're going to talk about the security. We're going to talk about, quality of life. What makes us tick. And I want to welcome Upper Merion on that Verizon 45, Country Hawkin and Plymouth, and welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, and let me hear from you, okay? So my guest today is from the courthouse. Well, the courthouse, his office is in the courthouse, but now it's across the street, right? But he is the chairman of the Montgomery County Commissioners. Name is James Matthews. Now, I had lunch yesterday with Stan Husky, the editor of the Times-Herald, and I told him, hey, I'm going to have Jim Matthew on my show. He says, Hank, he says, it's Matthews with an S on the end. Don't louse up. I just, I won't. Right. So it's Matthews with a S on the end. And welcome to the Hank Cisco Show.
Good to be here, Hank.
And Happy New Year.
Be a great
now,
year.
Right off, what are our plans now for 2009? Come on, let's.
Well, I got some stuff.
We're ready. We're ready to roll.
Right down the street from you, I think we have one of our starting projects. There's a big problem right now in the state. You probably read about it. You've heard about it. They're going broke up there in Harrisburg. So we can't look for any money from the state.
No more from the state.
And the other thing is, on our transportation, PennDOT, we used to get a lot of money partnering with boroughs, municipalities like Norristown, and with the townships and all these local municipal projects on transportation issues. And since that bridge fell in Minnesota a year and a half ago, and since 95, that big crack opened up under 95 that you could see through 3 different spots.
And that creates a big problem.
Well, what they've decided is they've taken a good look at all this so-called infrastructure, the bridges and the highways. And there's so many repairs needed and so much capital project work needed that PennDOT has announced that's where all of their money's going, so the bridge repair and highway repair.
Is that going to be anything to do with that ramp or something they're bringing in from Lafayette Street? Is that going to affect it or what?
It's a huge problem because that's new. They're talking about existing infrastructure.
They want to take
tragically behind. We have 6,000 bridges that need work in Pennsylvania.
We're talking Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. So the problem is heretofore when the municipality would go in for partnering with the state for money for an intersection project, maybe you'd get 50, 60, sometimes 80% from the state. That money's not going to be there for 5 to 10 years. There's no transportation money. So we identified, we put together a transportation committee that's been working for the past 6 months. And they've come up.
How many on that committee?
We have right now about 40 people on that committee. Really good municipal engineers,
in other words, you
leaders,
take different walks of life, right?
Around the county.
Get some good
education, labor, everybody.
Right.
And what we're doing is identifying what we have to get done. Now, here's the big problem, Hank. We have some intersection projects around this county where boroughs and municipalities have already invested $1 million, $2 million in engineering studies and so-called property takings and planning, and now it's stopped dead because there's no state money. So what we decided to do is, you remember 3, 4 years ago, we went to the people of Montgomery County, and we said, look, we want to do open space acquisition. We want to do preservation of farmland. And this is a quality of life issue. And we said, this is a lot of money, though. It's $150 million. We want you to vote on it. And you remember what the results of that vote were? 78% of the people voted for spending that $150 million on open space and farmland. So we decided this is the same deal here. The citizens of Montgomery County have never paid.
You ask the people. That's
exactly what you have to do. And so we thought, all right, now what are we looking at here? So we identified 40 or 50 projects that have to get done in transportation. Comes to about $150 million. So we said, I'm going back to the people. So we're going to the people this coming fall. It takes a while to prepare the referendum, and the people of Montgomery County will have a chance to vote. Do you want to increase your taxes by, we'll have a number in there, $20, $30, whatever, per household per year?
To do these, did you send a form out?
We're going to, no, we're putting it all together now.
Okay.
All legal documents, everything will be prepared, and it'll be on the ballot. And it'll be a transportation initiative. Now, I'll give you an example. You go right up the street here. What's one of the worst intersections around here? Sturridge and Whitehall. It backs up. You have people. Now, you don't just have soccer moms stuck in their cars.
Yeah.
up here at the corner.
Yeah.
You're waiting for somebody to make a left turn
Yeah,
on
and then
Sturridge here,
school dismissal
and
is
it
murder.
backs up like crazy, just because of one person turning. Well, there's no turning lane there. So that intersection needs some work. Maybe it's going to be $600,000-$700,000 to do that intersection. The township needs a partner. This is where you'd normally go to the state and say, we had a problem here.
Right.
But what it is, Hank, it goes far more than just quality of life for people sitting there and idling. Hey, remember when gasoline hit $4 a gallon?
Ah, that's right.
Well, you sit and idle, you're wasting money.
Right.
You're wasting not just quality of life, but economy.
Right.
And think of the other thing. All the small businessmen are backed up there, too.
Yeah.
They're not doing business if they're sitting
That's
on the
right,
road on
that's
Sturridge here waiting to turn.
And how about this, if the hospital comes on there, that's extra traffic too.
Oh, that's a concern too.
That's
And
another-
the other intersection, that's another intersection needs
Right.
work. So the problem is, it's not just quality of life. It's also your economy, your small businessmen.
Get to work.
Well, to do their work.
Right,
They're in the midst of work, and if it takes longer to deliver products, it makes the
Right.
products more expensive. So these are things that before we always assumed the state would be there. State's not there, Hank. They already said, we're gone for the next 5 to 10 years. It's all going into bridges. So what they're calling is, a Sturridge project is what they call a capacity project. It's to improve the capacity of traffic going back and forth.
Yeah.
And they're saying zero capacity dollars. We don't have any capacity dollars. So now, all right, now what do? We just sit back and we say, here's where we are in Montgomery County, the economic breadbasket of the state. We're the #1 manufacturing county in the Commonwealth. Or we're going to sit back and say, well, let's just wait 5 to 10 years until the state can give us some money to do these improvements. Can't do that. We have millions in these townships and boroughs already invested in projects that aren't done.
Okay, so what do you do to stimulate? What's the game
What we're
plan?
going to do
In other
is-
words, if you're getting hit with left hooks,
You gotta
put
do
your guard
something.
up, okay? So
And
what
what
are
we're
we
going to do is, you're absolutely right, Hank. We can't wait for the referendum.
Right.
We're going to wait for
You can't
the
cover up
bulk
like
of the
this and
money.
wait.
Because we're going to have to cover up because the people are going to come after me sitting in this traffic. Because what we've decided is we've picked 4 or 5 projects, okay? And it's going to be a rapid start, an early start to the program. And because we have those monies available in our capital
right.
funds. Give you a great example. You go up here a ways to 63, and it goes through, you have Sunnytown Pike.
Yeah, okay.
And we have major pharmaceutical firms there. I'm not
Big
going to
outfit.
advertise for
Right.
anybody, but major firms. All the traffic has to go through this little old bridge that's 70 years old. And it stifles the traffic, it impedes the traffic to and from the huge pharmaceutical Merck that's there, I might as well say their name, and because they're one of our greatest employers.
Right.
Well, they've already got invested in there about $9 million towards this replacement of this bridge and expand it. Now the Commonwealth isn't coming in with their $4 million. We have to finish that project.
Right.
This impacts probably 50,000 vehicles a day. We have to do that.
No kidding.
We're going to start right in on that. We're going to finish that project and get that opened up. It's a huge, that's one of dozens of projects around the county that have already had substantial investment by the taxpayers here in their township dollars.
Right.
And we want to finish these jobs.
Good, good.
So-
Well, that's looking forward to '09, right?
This will cover, we'll be investing, this program will probably last several years as we pick these projects out. And the primary projects are going to be, so we don't get a big wish list on the phone tomorrow or after the airing of the
What
show.
about it? I can handle it.
I know, you can handle it.
Okay.
But when they start calling in, it's going to be, how much have you invested so far in the township or borough? They're the ones we're going after first, where they've already put their money up and they're willing to do another match of some degree with us. And we'll look at the most compelling ones that are really lousing up our economy and lousing up our standard of living.
Right. Well, okay. Now, recession. Okay. Everybody's concerned about it. I had my Dr. Melnick is my physician, and he says, he says, with all this here publicity about the recession and people losing their job, people are getting worried. They're starting to get sick. And you can worry yourself to death. So we have to hear something. You're the commissioner. You and your staff. Okay, I just staff the three of you, 3 commissioners. Okay, you're guiding us. You're our pilot. Okay, and we got to hear good things. We got to hear good things. Okay,
Right.
We're hearing so many bad. They've turned the TV on. This guy's closing up. That guy's So take care of your health. Okay, take care of your health and start thinking positive. If you had a suggestion or something, talk to the commissioners, talk to your council, whatever, get involved. You know, just sit back and say, well, just like you said, we just can't wait for the state to, you know, to decide when they want to give us any money. But so you're motivating, but what are some of the things now? I just can't. We got New Jersey, Philadelphia. They're down there closing firehouses and libraries and everything. We're a stone throw from, well, we're right border Philadelphia, and we're in pretty good shape, aren't we?
Yeah, and Governor Rendell, don't leave him out. He's
Right. Tell us,
there might be $2 billion in the hole there.
Are we? We're in good shape
We're
here
in good
Montgomery
shape.
County.
We're in good shape. And what we need for people of Montgomery County to have is confidence. And I mean the small businessmen who are thinking of expanding, but they're a little reticent now. Get out there and work those jobs and expand and have confidence in Montgomery County.
Invest.
See, we're lucky because our economy, our government is funded by primarily real estate taxes. Okay? So we haven't been hurt to the degree where Philly or Pennsylvania or Jersey has, because they're based on sales tax and income tax.
Yeah.
And so they're getting hit right away.
Yeah.
Their revenues are
Right.
way down. Or on tolls, things like that. Our revenue is based on real estate tax. Now, we haven't raised our county real estate tax since 2001.
How about hear that again?
We're the only county in the Commonwealth, the
Okay,
only
good.
county
Are you listening?
with lower county real estate taxes
Okay.
than in 2002.
Oh, okay.
So we're good.
Okay.
Now, the beauty of it is since we're not so much based on other things like income tax and fee taxes, we're not hurt as bad. Now, we got hurt because we didn't have any new real estate
Right.
to any great degree
Right.
being assessed.
You got to get
Because new construction
motivated.
just,
Got to get people
new
going.
construction just crashed, and it's going to come back. And the fees in the courthouse for recording of deeds, things like that, well, that's down. So we had to make some tough adjustments.
Right.
We had a salary freeze, a hiring freeze, not a salary freeze, a hiring freeze. We got all of our departments to tighten their belts and cut back. So again, no tax increase. And government is still going to be able to function at the same level of performance we have been for years. I'm concerned on one level, though, because certain state funding might face another cut. And we might have to cut here further as a result, because Pennsylvania's going to have to make some drastic changes. Governor Corzine in New Jersey just cut $2 billion from his budget.
Wow.
Cut, because the money's not coming in. So we're fortunate in that respect, and we do have a very, very intrinsically a healthy economy here. As I said, Merck and the other major employers, they're doing okay. And I say to the people watching this show, you have fear right now, because if you had a retirement account and you're looking at it and saying, oh my God, honey, we're down 35%. We've lost 35% of the money we had set aside. People have to keep in mind confidence in this country and in a resilient economy we have, and the backbone of this country. Because, you know, is that money lost forever? Just a little bit of it. The money that was in Fannie Mae stock or Freddie Mac, well, they're gone.
Yeah.
That's evaporated. It's not coming back. Certain firms, Bear Stearns, AIG, they're gone. But that's only a little bit of everybody's mixed portfolio. The rest of the portfolios, it can come back. So fine, you had Citicorp or Citigroup, you bought at $60 a share and it's down to $6. Does that mean it can't come back? It could come back.
Could, yeah.
You know, I have faith in
come
growth.
back. It can.
And besides, if you're not retiring now, you're not at retirement age, so you got whacked 25% or 30% in your retirement account.
Right.
But we still have our vitality, our health. We have great national security. We have great infrastructure here in the county.
Mm-hmm.
We're at the nexus of so many major highways that our access point here, Hank, is great. And the Delaware Valley as a whole, we're situated on 95. We're by the largest freshwater port in the world.
Right.
Largest freshwater port in the world, Delaware. Delaware River in Philadelphia. We're at a perfect point here. I mean, we're a great locale. We're going to suffer last in terms of if there's major difficulties with the economy. We're very well situated.
In other words, we're situated, there's a lot we can do. A lot of things can happen. Like Norristown, we got 3.5 miles of waterfront that could be developed. We got a lot of things.
Great potential.
Just like you mentioned, I had you on, a year or so ago, and you talked about Norristown being between Gettysburg and Philadelphia. That a lot could happen, you know. Now, let's talk about making money. You know, like we're working on getting a theater, art, cultures center enlarged. You know, we're working on that. Now, that will bring in different people. That will bring in restaurants. That will bring in people to the community. And it'll
We
help
can't
make
ignore the
economy.
quality. We can't ignore the quality of life items. Throughout history, we've always felt civilized society, every advanced society has always set aside 1% for the arts, always. And that was re-stipulated, I think, by John F. Kennedy in his first administration. We have to look after the arts because of that quality of life aspect to it. It rises, it lifts us beyond ourselves.
Right.
It's inspirational.
It helps,
and
it's good for you.
It's great for the psyche.
Right.
And I think we have the makings of a good cultural arts center. We have some wonderful plays.
Well, I know the commissioners are already said that, hey, we want to get involved, and you are involved, and we're, you know,
We
I
throw
think
some money in the
Stan
pot
Husky
every
and,
year.
John Doyle and Fran Doyle.
It's
made
very,
a
very
contribution, you know, and this is movement. And another thing, like, now, a lot of things in Montgomery County, you know, I have an opportunity to travel around this country when I was, you know, with the police department, and, you know, we have things in Montgomery County that other counties don't have, you know.
No.
And even in Norristown, we have things that other towns don't have.
And Hank, you brought up a good point, too. If we're looking to the future, we had that little bad taste about 5 months ago of $4 gasoline. I touched on it earlier. Was there ever a reminder of how important our towns are? Ever. Because everything we're trying to plan in the future now for development, it's called TOD, Transportation-Oriented Development. Where you have your towns like Norristown and Ambler and Pottstown, and they have rail facilities and mass transit. This is the future because, God forbid, we go back to that $4 or $5 or $6 gasoline.
Murder.
You know what happens? The exurbs, as they call, they die.
Right.
When I was out in Minnesota at the Republican convention this past year, my driver, I had an NBC driver every day because I was on that Morning Joe every day.
Right.
He was a real estate broker, the guy driving my car. He was happy to get the work.
Get the job.
Because his real estate companies were in towns about 12, 14 miles outside of Minneapolis. He said, nobody's coming out to look at houses 12, 14 miles out. And I said, why? He says, we don't have mass transportation like you guys have in the East.
Right.
Everything's by car. When gasoline's hitting $3.50, $4 an hour, people aren't going to drive 14 miles to look at a house that they know they're going to have to commute back and forth to work for every day. And those suburbs, those exurbs died.
Right.
And
Get
they're
hurt,
still dying right now.
wounded.
We have to look at this as a snapshot here of the possibilities of the future, of what our towns can offer us. Every capital commitment we make, a good third of it should be devoted towards our towns, towards our boroughs.
Right.
Because of that. Now, look at, you've witnessed, Hank, you've had this involvement of yours now for 50, 60 years. I'm not exaggerating, am I?
No.
And you've seen, what a turnaround you've seen in Conshohocken. What a turnaround in Ambler.
Right.
What we're trying to do, the investment here, look, what we just did on Main Street with the big garage, that's going to be an anchor for us for bringing in retail on Main Street.
And the SEPTA has a, what, 500
transportation center there and a SEPTA garage.
Right.
And you see the money we're investing in 202 and the new brickwork and the lamps and the lights. And, you know, and then if we get these major capital projects in, as we've talked before, opening up the turnpike to Lafayette Carter, this is the future. And I can see people in a $4 or $5 gasoline economy saying, whoa, let's get a place on the river, that beautiful view of the Schuylkill in Norristown, and it's right there, and the shopping's right there, and you know, the possibilities are fabulous.
I know that you are very much interested in about the Revolutionary Center.
That's that quality of life stuff we were talking about. That quality of life, culture.
You know, come on, what's the problem? I don't, you know, look, I like to see it there. Now, if anybody out there thinks that I'm being on one side or anything, you come on my show and you want to talk about it, okay. But I think it's a good thing. My show this year is going to be, if you have something to say, let me hear from it, okay? Because, you know, I come in, I interview different people, and it's good. But I wanted something, boom, you know, hit a la banza, you know? So it's something good, let's go for it. And same thing with the zoo. I pick up the paper, I pick up the Times Herald, and I read that the zoo has 140,000 people visit the zoo. In Norristown, 140,000 people came to Norristown last year.
My grandkids from
where
Norristown.
they, you know, hey, maybe we ought to tap you for a couple of bucks, and maybe we can help pay some of our bills that we have here. But we'll talk about that later. But that is a good thing, and I think it's a good thing. It's a little problem there, you know. But I don't mind people objecting and this, that, and everything, because I always get back to the old saying, all sunshine makes deserts. You know, so you got the lightning and the storm, and everything, but you're going to have a beautiful garden when that Revolutionary Center is open.
There's so much, as we said.
That's my speech.
You're absolutely right, and it goes hand in hand with our whole, The whole tenet of America is based upon what happened here, as we said before, between Penn's Landing and Gettysburg.
Right.
But the whole concept of having a society of different people who could govern themselves, of different religions who could tolerate each other.
Right.
A country where you can achieve prosperity just based on diligence and hard work and not what your upbringing was or what your roots
Right,
are.
right.
But all of that was made possible by our revolution, by our Declaration of Independence, our Constitution, which is validated and celebrated by our Constitution Center. We certainly should have a museum to honor those people, those brave souls
Right.
who weathered that 6-month ordeal at Valley Forge. Now, what we're hoping is that the powers that be, who are currently at loggerheads over this, can come together and put this where it belongs, at Valley Forge. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, you know, just like a fight. I'm a former boxer. You go out there, you boom, 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 you fight. After the fight, shake hands, boom. The winner of this contest, so-and-so, and that's it. You don't have to keep bobbing and weaving, slipping and sliding.
Hank, it's
you
been
know.
going on for too long.
But,
And you know what? Federal government was at fault too, the National Park Service. They got their backs up, and they were having a tough time with the organization that's trying to put this center there.
What'd they do,
I think
back
it's
up?
time, they packed up and they said they're going to do this in Lower Providence. Well, no problem. The problem there is there's no bridge over. You're bifurcating it. You're splitting Valley Forge. You're making it 2B instead of an A destination. You're making it 2 Bs. You know, you go to Valley Forge, you know, it's nice for a while and it's very historical, but mommy, what are we going to do now? You go to the museum, well, then you're skipping where Washington had his headquarters. If you go over to Lower Providence, it's got to be one solid AAA like the Constitution Center
Right.
to draw people,
right.
not just physically for the economy, Hank, spending money here, you know, in Montgomery County,
yeah.
but also to give adequate due
you got
to our
hotels,
history.
restaurants, right? They're going to stay open. Then they're just going to come in and out. Going to hotel, restaurants, and traveling, all the different
Any
things.
person we turn away by not having an A site, a real AA or AAA site, is someone who might not have the opportunity to be inspired by what these great people did, what our predecessors did. And that's unfair to them and their memory, and for the great country they left behind them.
All right. Now your brother, Chris Matthews.
That
the next
brother,
to the end.
yeah, I have
It's
4
your
of them.
brother, right?
I have 4 of them.
He's bobbing and weaving there and saying something
Well,
about
you
he
know,
might
Hank,
be
I
running for
couldn't have
senator.
said it better. I
Huh?
couldn't have said it better.
Well, if
Bobbing
he's
and
going to
weaving
run
is
for
right.
senator Pennsylvania, he's got to come to Montgomery County, right?
Darn right. That's
He'll,
right.
He'll work out of
I
Montgomery
don't think
County.
he's going to run. I
You
don't
don't
think
think
he's gonna
so?
run. I don't think so. I don't
Well,
think
I
so.
read an article where he got a big contract with that outfit that he's.
He got it. He's got it in hand, and he's thinking about it. And maybe by the time this is aired tomorrow, the next day, whenever, maybe he will have taken some action. But by any indication thus far, he is a man like you, Hank, that loves what he does.
Right.
There's no suppressing that.
Right.
I see it in Chris's eyes, his body language, everything on show. He loves having that MSNB show.
Right.
He loves that NBC show, Sunday with
yeah.
Chris
I
Matthews.
watch him, yeah.
And but there's always that Kennedy-esque dream that the families, kids my age went through, and that is this luster of Camelot and serving the Senate, serving your country. Before that, Jimmy Stewart, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. This is imbued in all of us.
Yeah.
And Chris is, I think he's just got to shake it, get rid of it, you know? It doesn't mean you have to jump in the deep end.
Well, get him on my show here, and then we'll rattle some cages. Maybe we'll come up
You
with-
would rattle him. He wouldn't be used to that, Hank. He thinks hardball. Come
Well,
on
but
in
he's
here,
in the
buddy.
area. Who knows? You know, we've had some top celebrities here, but
Sure.
So we're in good shape, right? We're in good shape, Montgomery County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to
And
sound
you're,
like...
you're two. What is it, Castor and
And Hoffel.
right and Hop.
We got things
right.
done this
They're
year.
working. You know.
We got things done, and we didn't raise taxes to do it. And we're very excited about this continuation. We're going to have trails in this county. Talk about quality of life. We're going to have
Right.
trails in this county where no residence is going to be more than 3 miles from an interconnected trail in this county. That's great for biking, horsebacking.
Right.
I mean, and right now, somebody from Montclair wants to get out of the art museum by way of the Schuylkill Trail. Get down,
No kidding.
uninterrupted. You go from Oaks on the Perkiomen Trail, the end of the Perkiomen Trail. You can go from there. Magnificent. Trees over the old railroad line that we took over. It's a great experience, and I'd argue for anyone to get out there. Just this morning, we were talking about funding for the cross-county trail coming up from the Schuylkill and Conshohocken. It's going to go up through the county. And we're making that jump
from Conshohocken up to
through
where?
Plymouth, and we're making that jump now. The next stage is a 4-mile stretch. It's going to cost us another $600,000-700,000 in engineering, but it's going to put a bridge over the Germantown Pike for the trail users.
Oh, okay.
Continue
Okay,
on
great, great.
up towards Flowertown.
Hey, our half hour is over, and,
know.
you know, it's been a pleasure. And, you know, you got two other commissioners, right, the three of us. And I always say that, you know, if the whole three of us all think alike and talk alike, I think, you know, two are unnecessary. So I don't mind you guys battling in there, but stick together. You're working hard for the county. And, you know, I know the whole three of you from way back.
It's results.
And I know you're all good fighters, and you're fighting for us.
Think of the mistakes this country could have made over the last 200 years if everybody always agreed with one another. You know, it's good. The contrarian aspect is healthy. That's what our republic's based on. You know?
All right.
You got it.
All right.
Pleasure, Hank. Always a pleasure seeing you.
James Matthews with an S on the end.
And two
I
T's.
won't forget.
And two
Okay,
T's.
Stan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's our first show for 2009, right? And I'm happy to hear that we're on the move. We're in good shape. Stay healthy. Don't worry. You know the old story. Don't worry about the mule going blind. Get in the wagon, hold the line. Okay? Thank you, and God bless.
Who brought the pizza?